let me come back to the second half of my discussion, which is the most important for which all of you have come, is management of constipation. I recall my days in MBBS, we were taught, start with bulk purgatives, give them isabgol, give them methyl cellulose. A large number of patients will not be able to tolerate them, they will get bloating. Go back to the osmotic laxatives. You have lactulose, you have polyethylene glycol available, and now polyethylene glycol is available with electrolytes. If the patient doesn't respond, go back to laxatives, stimulant laxatives, and if they are still not responsive, go back to the newer drugs which they will talk. And if you find a refractory case, then think of exercises, biofeedback mechanisms. This is what we were taught with that. Do we have the same follow today? Do we still follow the same path?
I think we are still in the Stone Ages. We have a broad plan of treatment. Broad plan of treatment, number one, treat secondary causes. If there are drugs involved, please, if you can change the cardiac medicines, change them. The fact of the matter, the ground level is that we cannot stop most of these secondary causes. Number two, if there is no response to changing drugs, or if we genuinely cannot stop these medications, increase fiber intake. Now, this is controversial, we all know that, but in most patients it helps. And let's quantify it. We are aiming at 20 grams a day. Number two, increase fluid intake. Number three, get them to exercise a little more. We are talking about, most people are elderly, they are not able to walk very well. We can easily ask them to do 15 minutes twice a day. And number four, this is something that we learnt, and Dr. KK will know this from a long time. The traditional Indian method of passing stools is outstanding. Squatting is a much, much better way of passing stools than anything else. Now with modern toilets, that gets more complex. So one simple method that I often use is to actually ask them to have a 6-inch slab or a dabba in which they put their feet after they sit on the toilet. And that tilts the pelvis in a more squatting position and makes them pass more easily. So increase fluids, increase exercise, increase fiber. If nothing else works, try this method.
Traditionally, Indian toilet is better in relieving constipation. Any comments from anybody?
I think basically this is the biggest problem for the elderly group, because they have all that knee problems, and that is one of the reason that they cannot sit, and that's one of the reason they cannot have a complete evacuation. So I think they can have.
What Rajiv has said is, for those people who cannot squat, elderly people, and they're using the imported Western toilet, he says, get a 6 inches support under the feet.
I think that also does not, because there is no bending. It is the problem is with the bending of.
No, he says the tilting of the pelvis will occur and the constipation will get relieved. That's something. Let's try it out. Let's start.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no evidence for either way. It's a subjective feeling. But I think there cannot be a better comfort for the general public than to have a Western toilet, because of squatting. The biggest problem with the old people is that if they get diarrhea, they are not ready to even tolerate one extra stool because they have to squat. It's a real boon. So I think this is more of a psychological thing.
Yeah, but it's useful. The other thing that is often useful in not so elderly people and slightly younger people with functional or with chronic constipation is to set aside a fixed time. This I found very useful. Set aside a fixed time that you will try to pass stool from this time to this time, give it 15 minutes. Nothing is allowed to interrupt you at that time. There are no phone calls, there are no mobile phones, there's no newspapers, nothing. You'd set aside a fixed time for 15 minutes every day in which you will train your body to pass stools. And very often it works. These people will actually over the next few weeks be able to pass stools if they are given an unhurried time. Very often there is a pressure on the toilet, there are other people who want to use it. If you have your 15 minutes designated to you, it often helps.
There are lots of yogic exercises which helps you in training, and we will talk about it when the time comes. But let me talk about two groups of drugs, and that is bulk purgatives versus osmotic purgatives. I want to spend some time on it. When I talk about bulk purgatives, the simplest is isabgol, and many people don't tolerate because they get a lot of bloating. But still, isabgol is one medicine which most of the people, whether you prescribe or not, they will say isabgol to hum kha hi rahe hain. Uske baad mein, in fact, they come to you when their isabgol fails. They won't come to you for a prescription of isabgol. They will say isabgol to try karke dekh liya, now we have failed, now what next? So just compare about the isabgol, Thakur.
I'll just go back to the bulk forming drugs. When we talk of bulk forming drugs, isabgol or psyllium is one of them. others are methyl cellulose. There are tablets available in the market which is calcium polycarbophil. This is a hydrophilic polyacrylic resin which absorbs a lot of water, and guar gum. You know, there are people who make these mithai with these gum and all that. So basically it is bulk forming drugs are methyl cellulose, psyllium or isabgol, calcium polycarbophil and guar gum. Basically the advantage of bulk forming laxatives, and in our context isabgol is very safe. It's not absorbed, it absorbs water, increases the bulk of the stools, makes the straining less, it is safe. Tell your patient when you are prescribing it, give bulk forming laxative time. Don't expect results tomorrow morning. It's a safe drug, can be given for a long time, very important for elderly individuals where straining is often not allowed medically.
In diabetes, do you have anything special in the constipation?
These patients, this isabgol may work or may not work. This is now, as you said, that fiber is really good for bringing the blood sugar levels. Usually these patients do require prokinetics.
Ajay, tell us something about osmotic purgatives.
The common ones that you have is lactulose, polyethylene glycol. These are all osmotic, and milk of magnesia also comes in the same group. See, when you look at this bulk forming and osmotic, they are the safest laxatives for a long-term use. When you have a stimulant laxatives, long-term use, they cause morphological changes in the bowel. They also cause cramps. Patients are uncomfortable with that. So they are strong, but they are recommended for SOS thing. And when we are talking about long-term use, we use either bulk and or osmotic laxatives. Now, if you look at the evidence, till now, today is the era of evidence-based medicine. The best drugs which have a best evidence is polyethylene glycol and lactulose. The second group of drugs which have a slightly lesser evidence but still have a positive evidence is the fiber. Mind it, the Sena comes in the stimulant group and not in the bulk forming group.
So let me come back to a couple of observations. The first observation is that as a family physician, let's limit ourselves to bulk or osmotic. When it comes to stimulant, at least take one referral to a GI person and see that we choose between polyethylene glycol, lactulose and the fiber. As far as Ajay is concerned, the evidence is in number one more in favor of polyethylene glycol, then lactulose and then isabgol. In that way the evidences are available, and rest all of you have to choose accordingly. Let me spend some time on polyethylene glycol. All of you have been using polyethylene glycol for colonoscopy and for GI surgery. And what is the difference between when you do a colonoscopy, polyethylene glycol versus chronic constipation polyethylene glycol?
Basically the dosage and the frequency. When we give polyethylene glycol for the preparation of colonoscopy, the aim is not to get evacuation, the aim is to clear the scope, clean the colon. And for this we use big dosage, the big packets, but we give a lot of water with that. But when we are treating constipation, our aim is not to clean the colon, our aim is the patient should be satisfied after passing stool. But we use it up to 2 to 3 times a day in a glass of water.
When do you use stool softeners? When do you use stimulants? When do you use so-called new channel activators? And when do you use so-called etopride and the cisapride group?
Okay, very good question. See, we talk about these two groups. Stool stimulants, that is like, let's take it, Bisacodyl, Dulcolex. We are not using very often. In fact, the only use for these is as SOS, not ever as a long-term stimulants. I do use Bisacodyl suppository SOS as and when required, but not over long-term. And the number two, the question was on the use of the newer drugs of the calcium channel blockers like lubiprostone. Yes, lubiprostone is a newer drug. We have a limited experience, but whatever the experience is, it's a safer drug. And so if these drugs, first 3 drugs now fail, then we go on to the lubiprostone. But that is not the algorithm which has been defined, but I'm sure in future the lubiprostone, other one or two more drugs coming on the same group, calcium channel blockers, will probably come into that.
I think this is the ideal thing. I think this message must go home very clearly. Like Ajay mentioned, if someone's on a flight for 16 hours, they are constipated, that is the ideal person to give Bisacodyl or Dulcolax. If someone's had an acute onset of constipation for a clearly defined reason, then please give the Dulcolax, it's good, but not other than that.
All of us had the habit of starting a stimulant, and same is the observation here. Most of you are adding stimulants if isabgol fails. The recommendation is very clear that stimulants has to be their domain. I will not add a stimulant at my level unless they clarify. I'll at least send them one consult, okay, because let them decide for a long term should I give it or not. For me, stimulant, if the bulk purgative fails, I will go to osmotic laxative. Up till now only lactulose was available. Now polyethylene glycol is available. So I think we should restrict ourselves to isabgol and laxative and osmotic laxatives, and if it fails, we refer them, let them decide whether the person needs a colonoscopy or not, are we missing something, and if they say yes, a stimulant laxative is required for a longer period of time, yes. Try everything which works for you. We are talking about a situation where you have tried everything and it doesn't work, then what to do? What we are talking about is that try isabgol and you will find 20% of the people isabgol they don't tolerate. There will be a lot of people where you will get tempted to start a stimulant. We are talking about that situation. If you are tempted to start a stimulant, hold on, you have lactulose, you have polyethylene glycol. You have lactulose, you have polyethylene glycol. Try that. If that fails, then think of a stimulant, and before thinking of a stimulant, again look back, am I missing a secondary cause? Because I am going to make the patient addicted to that. There, I would definitely take a consult from my GI fellow.